All right, guys, so here's what we got. This is the frame for the seat. And as I said before in the previous video, it is a single person seat. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna extend this and then make a whole new seat base and pad and back for this thing. So it'll fit 3 people in there instead of just a single driver. So right now we're gonna weld up these new seat frame and get it all prepped and ready for paint. So we got the seat frame extended here, as you can see. We put some tabs, we did some square tubing, we're gonna put some caps on this so it's not so rough. But we were able to retain the adjustable seat track, so that's nice. And then this here is going to be the seat base that I'm gonna upholster. I already got the foam and the material for that, which you'll see a little bit later in this video. I'll wrap this thing up. But once that's done, then we can get this. All right, guys, so we're here at my house and I'm going to upholster the seat base for the seat frame that we built the other day. We already, like I said, we already have the inserts in. I'm gonna get this foam cut down and then we're gonna do a black vinyl on this. So here we go. I know I'm no expert by far on upholstery, but it did come out pretty nice. Everything looks really good. And this will be a good bottom seat for the Snowcat. Once we put this on the seat frame, then we're gonna weld up the back of the seat so we know where this cushion and the other cushion need to line up. But overall, I think it came out pretty good and we're gonna keep working on it. So here we go, guys. All right, guys, as you can see, we got the seat upholstered, everything mounted to the seat frame real nice here. So now we're gonna work on doing the seat back because before we couldn't really tell where the other seat cushion needed to be. We weren't sure how tall this thing was gonna be. So now that that's done, we're gonna work on that and here we go. So we got the back of the seat frame welded up. Now what we're working on here is putting the tabs on to mount the seat back like we did here for the seat base. All right, guys, so we got the back of the seat frame done. As you can see here, we got the tabs up. We did run out of paint, so we can't paint it right now. Once we get that painted, we'll be able to completely assemble the seat, and that part of it will be done, thank God. I'm gonna take the seat back, which I've already got here. We've already put the inserts in and everything, as you can see here. And I'm gonna do the upholstery on this tonight or tomorrow, and then we'll be able to get that all assembled and that part of the project will be done. All right, guys, as you can see, we got the seat finished and we just set it on here to see kind of what it looked like. But the seat frame came out pretty nice. Everything fits good and we made it the full width of the cab, as you can see here. When the cab sits down on here, it's gonna be full width in there. Definitely much more seating than we had before. All right, guys, so what we got here is a Texas Speed 408 sledgehammer. They sent us the short block. The heads are on their way as well. We decided that the other engine was just a total loss. So here we are with this. This thing should do really, really well inside the Snowcat. And we're hoping the other components that are part of the Snowcat can handle what this thing will do with it. But should definitely make a lot more horsepower than the inline 6 that was in this thing. So we're gonna actually start assembling this thing. And here we go. Like I said earlier in the video, Texas Speed sent us the Sledgehammer 408, and this is 11.5 to 1 compression ratio. We're also going to be running Texas Speed CNC machined heads. It's all forged internals. Everything is really top notch. They did an excellent job on this build. It looks amazing. We did not have the heads yet. They're going to show up probably within, I would say, a week or two. We're also waiting on the oil pan. The oil pan has to be special because we need a front sump oil pan, because as you can see over here on the Snowcat, this torsion axle right here runs right where we need the oil, well, where the oil pan normally would be, should I say. Pick up the cab. All right, guys, so we got the cab back inside the shop, and it needs some work. We're gonna straighten up some of these bent edges and stuff here. And yes, this was from where we pulled the cab off, but we're gonna actually mount D-rings on top here for if we ever have to take it off again, we won't ever have to damage anything below the cab. There's some damage from just previous stuff before. But now it's time to start on this thing and hopefully get it in really good shape to where it can be put over onto the Snowcat.
What's going on, guys? So Justin pulled the cabin here for me, and I've been pulling out some of the interior parts. As you can see, the mice have just had a heyday with this thing. I'm gonna see if I can save this dash. There's a big crack in it. I think it would make a really good part to the cat since it is original in here and it says Thiokol, and I think it would be a sweet part. So the next thing we're gonna do is we gotta pull this cooler out. This is the heat exchanger for the cab. BD Cool is going to send us a custom new one, so let's get to ripping it out.
We're gonna try to figure out how to get all this glass out of here, and we're gonna strip the inside out and get it all prepped for paint and do any body work that might need done. So that way we can get this all taken care of and it's ready to go on there. If you wanna see over here, we went out earlier and picked up a piece of steel, and this is actually gonna be the new floor inside underneath the seat that we finished up over there. But yeah, so we're gonna get cracking on this thing and see how much we can get done on it this evening and hopefully get it all stripped down. So here we go. All right, guys, we got all the windows and glass out of this cab. It needs a fair amount of work, but not too awful much. We're gonna trim out the bottom because the floor used to be a part of the cab. And since we have the new floor installed in there, the cab will just simply come on and off a lot easier that way. We're gonna see what it's gonna take to do some smoked glass in this. And thanks to the outrageous used price of Thiokol parts, those two pieces of glass right there will more than cover any glass for this entire cab we need. All right, guys, so what we're gonna work on today is getting this thing prepped for paint. So it definitely needs some work, and I'll go into like showing you the finer details of what needs cut out, what needs trimmed, and so on and so forth. But first off, we're gonna start getting everything sanded down on the outside, get everything, filled in that needs filled in, and then we're just gonna kind of roll from there. Hopefully get this thing sanded up, at least on the outside, and get some of the old rust and stuff trimmed off this thing, because the floor that we put in actually used to be part of the bottom of this cab, and it self-separated when we lifted the cab off. So it definitely needs some TLC down there. So essentially now the cab will be separate from the floor and it will just sit right on it. So hopefully that'll make things easier if we ever need to pull the cab off again. So here we go. Guys, so after looking at this cab, we decided that there's no way we're going to be able to get this thing prepped the way we want it with a wire wheel and sandpaper. There's just too many nooks and crannies, and it's just going to be a nightmare. Industrial Special Powder Coatings out of Delaware, Ohio said that they would take care of this thing for us and have it back in a day or two. So we're going to get this thing trimmed up and taken down there. As you can see, this was what was left of the floor, okay? The cab is still very solid. The floor is pretty rough. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna trim this down and trim all this junk out before we take it over there. So that way, when it's done being powder coat, or not powder coated, sandblasted, everything will be good to go, and then it'll be ready to touch up the few small things that we need to touch up. A couple things we need to touch up are right here. You can see on this window sill ledge, that ledge is what actually supports the window when it's in the rubber in here. So we need to get that touched back up and get rid of that. So everything's looking pretty good. We're gonna patch where the clutch did come through the floor. I don't know if they cut that with a machete or what exactly they cut it with, but it definitely wasn't pretty. Love that moss growing inside of there right there. But yeah, we'll get this thing all cleaned up. We're gonna strip the rest of these parts out, the fans, the windshield wiper motor and all that, so the sand doesn't get in there and mess those up. But once we get all that taken care of and this thing sandblasted, I think it'll be pretty awesome to get that stuff touched up and then get it painted and get it put right on over here on the Snowcat. Putting D-rings on the top so we can lift this cab on and off much easier. Okay, so as you can see, the piece of sheet metal that we showed earlier in the video, we got it trimmed down and got it fit in here. The bottom of the cab is actually gonna come down to like here. So that's where the angle for the feet is going to be. So there isn't a lot of room in there once it's all together, but the new floor fits perfectly. We're going to trim out right in here for where the controls will sit down through, and then the hydraulic lines will run to the back. But other than that, it's coming together. All right, guys. So I wanted to take a quick second to thank a few of the mini sponsors that we have on this build. We got Be Cool Radiators, Comp Cams, Excess Power, Fast Intakes, Power Master. The entire Edelbrock group has just been really great about Texas Speed because they just sent us this beautiful 408 for this thing. And I think that's really gonna wake that thing up a bit. And all these companies really help contribute to building something off the wall like this. We're gonna do another video that includes all of the sponsors that we have right now. So from all of us here at Racing to Randomness,
thanks for watching, and please like and subscribe.